G'day YouTube, it's me again. Time for a review of a FR Speed. This is the one with the Intuition liner. It's not the latest model. I think this is 2024 or 25. It's the 165 mount, 165mm mounting, not the 195mm mount, which I guess is aimed at slalom maybe, or something similar, but not so much speed skating or marathon skating. I kind of wish I got the 195 mount so I could actually use some of my other frames like a 4x110, but it does the job on the rollerblade frames that I use, which are both 165 and 195mm mount. Never had the Zebra Marathon before, but everyone raved about how good that is for long distance stuff and it's the most comfortable, etc, etc. FR continued that. You can definitely tell the design is, the padding is great. The Intuition liner I think does mold to your feet after time with your own body heat. I know there's an option to use a sock or a special heating sock, but I didn't need it. When I first got them, I kind of got a little bit of pinching in the back of the ankle from where the Achilles lock in this grabs you quite well. And these were a borderline, these were a 47 and I'm normally a 48, but somehow I got away with it, probably because of the wide toe. It's not very pointed, it's not very tapered, which works really well for me because I have wide toes. So I took the inner sole out of it and ran with no inner soles, and then I didn't get the pinching on the back of the ankle. Later, felt like my foot was swimming around in them a little bit, so I put the inner sole back in, and then it must just have been the Intuition liner needed to take shape to my foot because that pinching kind of went away, and now I can skate with them with the inner sole in. The boot, the quality of the finish, the boot is awesome. You've got really nice carbon, this kind of a carbon material here. It's not carbon, it looks like carbon, but it's not carbon, obviously. It's like a synthetic leather of some sort. And then you got like a shiny plastic, not hard plastic, but more plasticky than leathery, if that makes sense, to protect the toe against a crash. You got really solid buckles, straps, really thick laces. These buckles, for me, the release mechanism works quite well. But I think the the material in the strap is a little bit weak. Like I've already sort of damaged one or two teeth on that strap because they weren't weak enough once you actually go to your maximum, and if you're trying to just ratchet it just one or two more notches, you can risk breaking a tooth or chipping a tooth or taking the edge off it. Like if you watch my review on the Flying Eagle Veloce or the Flying Eagle Drift or the Zebra Highlight, they've all got that same concept where they have this solid boot that and the Bont Semi Race 3 now. They got this boot that there's no cuff in it, so it can't move or compress forward in any way. There's supposed to be a little bit of give because they have like this little V-shaped thing here, which in theory allows like a tiny bit of movement. Like if you're really strapped in and you're trying to sort of lean forward as you skate. But in reality, like all those boots, this one is no different. They all don't really move. The only saving grace to this boot though is it's not a high cut, it's like a medium cut or a 3/4 cut, quite low, and I think the next one above that is a little bit lower again, which is just enough to let you bring your shin forward, like as you squat down to skate in the low position. You can get, if you don't run this buckle too tight, you can get just enough flex for this to be pretty useful for long distance skating. So the furthest I've done is about 50 kilometers in these in one go. It's manageable, but it's not painful. It's just slightly annoying because this tongue The tongue is, see, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. It's kind of hard and shiny on the front. It's quite thick and it doesn't really compress much at all. It's quite solid. So if you're, so even if you do run the top loose, you still get, you can feel, you know, your shin kind of pushing against that hard tongue. So then you end up having to run the top loose, run the bottom tight, not have the laces done up too much, so allow your foot to move forward. And again, because it's a lower cut, you can get away with it. So yeah, they're good quality, comfortable, quite efficient in the energy transfer because of the carbon base. They're not, I wouldn't say they're ultra light, they're a tiny bit heavy. You can tell, you can feel all that extra padding in it. But yeah, it's a really good skate for the marathons or trail skating over a long distance. I know, like the guy, Dan Gardner, who I skated with in Perth in West Australia, in Australia, he did 462 kilometres in 24 hours in one of these. I did 300, but I was doing it in rollerblade maxims. I'm not sure if these would have been as comfortable for me because they are hard, but that's the point. They're supposed to be hard for long distance stuff, so a good energy transfer. But I think this tongue would have just annoyed me over time because it's just too hard. There's no flex in it at all. It's fat. It's hard on the rim. I still don't have the perfect skate for long distance. That, you know, I love the Twister and the Maxim. I think they're the most comfortable skates I have, but they're still plastic. And then rollerblades, additions to the marathon long distance skating is with carbon fibre was their Endurance, which became the E2, and now they're using the rollerblade Rev Boa, which I've had issues with. Again, I just wish they'd take the Twister, which is a plastic boot with a cuff that moves, make all that whole thing carbon, make the padding firm, and then you would have, I think, the perfect long distance skate that was comfortable. It had an actual dedicated cuff that moved and still supported you at the same time. But if you're an FR lover, Zebra lover, and you know that it's a good fit for you, the comfort's good for you, and you want to stick with that brand, this is pretty much the best option you can get for long distance skating, marathon skating, long trail skates, and that kind of thing, or even, you know, fast commuting but actually having more support than you would in, say, a speed skate. Thanks for watching.